Welcome to our Monday morning yoga. So be aware as always of your surroundings, practicing yoga in your own home where things aren't the same as usual, and pay attention to how you feel as you move. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right, and know that it's always fine to rest or to modify anything in a way that you know suits you. So we're going to start lying down on our backs. So find a comfortable position. You can have your knees bent, you can have your legs stretched, you can have your arms wherever they're comfy. You can move until you find that comfy position. Then close your eyes. Feel what that position feels like. What position did you choose? And start to notice your breath. Notice your breath and control your breath. So deliberately make it a little bit slower. But make sure it still feels comfortable. A slow breath in, a soft breath out. And observe that soft breath in all the way in. And the breath out all the way out. There's not a single breath that goes by unnoticed. And then if your knees aren't already bent, bend your knees, bring your feet onto the floor. Hips and heels closest together, and feet hip distance apart. Arms by your sides. So we're going to continue that slow breathing, but we're going to lift gently up and down, rolling up and down into a bridge pose as we do it. And as you lift in a moment into your bridge pose, as you lift your hips, you're going to take your arms overhead in the usual way that we do. So as you breathe in, you're going to take your arms over your head and lift your hips, and as you breathe out, you'll bring your arms back down by your sides and your hips back down to the floor. But for a moment, just picturing what that's going to look like before you do it. And the way that you're going to peel up, the order that things lift off the floor is hips, back of the waist, back ribs. And when you're ready to come back down, you're going to land back ribs, back of the waist, hips. So come back to your breath, nice and slow. And then when you're ready to take your next breath in, lift your hips, lift the back of your waist, lift your ribs, take your arms overhead. And as you exhale, your arms come back down, back ribs, back of the waist, and hips. If you're not sure, take a look towards the screen. You can see me do it. But carry on if you're happy in your own time. It's a smooth lift up as you breathe in. Arms all the way beyond your head. A smooth roll down as you breathe out. And it's not about getting high, it's about getting that nice smooth movement, that roll of your spine up, roll of your spine down. As you start your lift as you start your lift, it's like you're rounding your back, but when you get to the top, you're arched, and then as you come back down again, you're rounding it. But if you just think about that order. And as you continue, check in with your feet, make sure that they're fully grounded, every part of your foot working towards the floor. And then make this your final one. Next time you land your hips on the floor, rest there. Stretch out both legs along the mat. Bring your legs together, push your heels away, pull your toes up towards you. And then take your arms beyond your head. So how long can you make the distance from your fingertips to your heels? Keep that length, but spread your fingers wide. And then spread your toes wide as well. Relax your hands and your feet. Bring your arms back down by your sides. Bend your knees again. This time bring your knees onto your chest. Hands around your knees. Take a gentle rock side to side. Come to rest at the centre. Bring your feet down onto the floor. Roll to one side. Make your way up to standing. Cool. So standing at the front end of your mat, ready for our salute to the sun, but a moment just to stand in mountain pose, Tadasana. Your toes are pointing forwards. Your feet are grounded, making an even footprint with both feet. Knees soft. And imagine a helium balloon in your rib cage. Gently lifting it up away from your hips. And it's not just filling the front of your rib cage, it's filling the back. Your arms dangle heavily, loosely. And your gaze is straight ahead. So grounded through your lower body and light through your rib cage. We're going to come back to that feeling of the balloon in your rib cage. But feel for a moment how, as it lifts, as the balloon wants to lift up, the sides of your waist lengthen. It's floating your rib cage up above your hips. And then you're going to lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Look up between your hands and then reach your arms back and wide. So feet still grounded, knees still soft, front body lengthening, and your centre of your chest lifting towards the ceiling. Look forwards, reach back up tall, and take a forward fold. Fingertips onto the floor. Head and neck hanging, shoulders relaxed. Right leg steps back to a lunge, and then lift your chest, look forwards. Step the left foot back to down face dog. Ground down through the floor, tummy button to spine, and then slide forwards to plank. 2 perfect handprints on your mat. Knees gently down, and then front body smoothly down, elbows clinging to the sides of your ribs. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Look back down at the floor, push up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under, lift into down face dog. Take a stretch of your legs, one leg at a time. And then stretch both legs. Weight on your left foot, look between your hands. Step your right foot through to a lunge. Step your left foot in line with your right foot, forward fold. Deep bend of your knees, hips down low. Spine lifts, bit of an arch of your back, and then straighten your legs to bring yourself up, palms together, and then slide your palms down, standing tall again. Lift your arms. Look up, reach back and wide, shoulders relaxed, front body long. Look forwards, reach up, forward fold. Head hanging, so you're looking between your legs. Left leg back to a lunge. Right foot back to down face dog. Slide forwards to plank. And if you're feeling strong, you leave your knees lifted. If you would rather though, place your knees on the floor. Smooth lower down. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Look down. Push up to hands and knees, tuck your toes under. Down face dog, tummy button to spine, ground down through your hands and feet. Feel that stretch in the backs of your legs that you worked at last time. How does it feel if you pull your heels further back from your toes? Calves towards the wall behind. Backs of your thighs closer to the wall behind, lengthening and broadening. Weight on your right foot, look between your hands. Step your left foot through to a lunge. Step the right foot forwards, forward fold. Deep bend of your knees, hips down low. Lift your chest. Come all the way up, palms together, tall as you can be, light in your rib cage, and then palms slide down. This time with the breath. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees, and then exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. Firm feet and hands. A firm tummy button drawn in towards your spine. And then come up high onto tiptoes. And as you come onto tiptoes, push your hips high up into the air, as high as they'll go. Take a bend of your knees, keep staying on tiptoes, and then use the strength in your hands to push your chest closer towards your thighs. And keep your upper body where it is as much as you can. Stretch your heels back down to the floor. Weight on your left foot, look between your hands. Breath in, right foot through. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up. Exhale, palms down. Breath in. And a breath out. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Smooth, continuous movements. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. So that same action in down face dog. You're going to ground down through your hands, suck in your tummy button, and then come high up onto tiptoes. Lengthening your legs to push your hips up as high as you can, right up onto tiptoes. Keep that tiptoes, but bend your knees deeply, and then send your chest towards your thighs. Feel how your hands in the floor have to do that work. Then, if you can, creep your legs a bit straighter. Keep your arms working there, what's going to stay there, what's going to keep you there. And then weight on your right foot, look between your hands. Breath in, left foot through. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up to standing. Palms together. Exhale, palms slide down. Breath in. And a breath out. And then rest your arms by your sides. Step your feet a little bit apart. Make any movement that you want to make to get yourself back to normal so that we can take a balance. We're going to balance in tree today, Vrikshasana. So step your feet together again. Be mindful what you're near. If you want to put an arm on something, have something there, wall, chair, cupboard, I don't know. Be in the right place for you. But then that feeling that your footprints are even, your knees are soft, and your rib cage is feeling buoyant. Bend your right knee. Turn your knee out to the side. Heel to ankle. So you can stay here, or you can balance on one leg, bring your foot onto your calf, or bring your foot up onto your thigh. Anything but right on the inside of your knee. So wherever you are, make a bit of pressure between your foot and your leg. That's going to help you balance. It's stability at the bottom of your posture. Palms come together. Still an even footprint on your left foot. Still lifted up through your ribs, including the back ribs. And stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. Focusing on one point helps you keep your balance. It's like you're tethered. So if you're feeling well balanced and you want a challenge, release that tether and slowly move your gaze up towards the ceiling between your fingers. You don't have to. Moving's the hardest bit. Once you get there, just hold on to another focal point. If you lifted your gaze slowly, bring it back down to the original place. Take a breath in here. Exhale, palms together. Breath in. Exhale, foot to the floor. Rest your arms by your sides. Are you okay, Marcus? Have you got cramp? Yeah, okay, that's fine. So find your standing tall place again. And this time bend the left knee, turn it out to the side, heel to ankle. And then choose if you're going to balance on one leg. If you are, slide it up to your calf or up to your thigh. Palms together. So as you push your foot to your leg, push your palms together as well. Make everything feel solid, like everything's drawing into the centre line. Hold your gaze steady, lift your arms. And if you want to, slowly move your gaze up to look between your fingers. If you lifted your gaze, slowly take it back. Breath in here. Exhale, palms together. Breath in. Exhale, foot to the floor, arms by your sides. Have a moment and then see if you need any shaking or anything else. Do what you need to do. And then when you're ready, lie down on your front. So as usual, make a pillow with your hands, one hand on top of the other, rest your forehead on your pillow. Take a moment there to feel your breath. And when you lie on the front of your body, you really feel your breath moving because you sort of expand down into the floor. So lift yourself up, come onto your elbows, rest on your elbows. Have a look down, make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders and your hands palm face down on the floor in front of your elbows. So Sphinx pose. That's it. So your legs are stretched out behind you. Your kneecaps pointing down to the floor rather than rolling out or rolling in, and the tops of your feet on the floor. You're going to lift up as if you're trying to lengthen the distance between your tummy button and your throat. And let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. So when you're making that distance between your tummy button and your throat, imagine trying to drag your elbows down towards the sides of your waist. Let that give you a bit of extra lift. And can you widen the distance between the fronts of your shoulders so your top chest is broad, as well as your torso, your front torso being long. Tops of the feet still on the floor, fronts of the thighs on the floor. A long, broad front body. And then gently lower back down. Bring your pillow back, rest your forehead on your hands. So that's Sphinx pose. That's going to be an option in a moment for when we're practicing bow in a moment. But for now, stretch your arms out in front of you. Point your toes out behind you. So your feet stay parallel, your legs stay parallel, sorry. Arms, maybe hands a little bit wider than your shoulders, because most of us don't have the flexibility to have them parallel. And chin on the floor or forehead on the floor, but as soon as you want to, lift your head up away from the floor so your head and neck stays comfy the whole time. Lengthen yourself out. Imagine a piece of stretchy elastic from your right fingertips to your left toes. And you're going to lift your right arm, your left leg, just a little bit off the floor, and then elongate to stretch that elastic. So you're making your front body even longer. Stretch it long, and then lower it back down. Left arm, right leg. Lift them a little bit. The elastic has now changed to that side, so elongate your elastic. Push your toes back, pull your fingers forwards, and then lower back down. Right arm, left leg. Take a breath in. Give it a good long stretch. Exhale, lower them back down. Remember your head and neck go wherever they want to go. Breath in. Left arm, right leg. Exhale, lower down. One more to each side. Breath in. Right arm, left leg. So your body doesn't move. It's like diagonal stretch. Exhale, lower back down. And then inhale, left arm, right leg. Elongate. Exhale, lower back down. And then bend your elbows, find your pillow again. Rest your forehead. Check that your legs are still kind of parallel, not feet wide apart. You're going to come back up onto your elbows, but this time rather than Sphinx pose with your hands in front, you're going to be sort of holding onto your elbows, that kind of feeling, one forearm in front of the other. So you've got that bit of support, bit of lift, without too much effort. And the fronts of your thighs are on the floor, the tops of your feet are on the floor. You're going to bend your right knee, point your toes up towards the ceiling. So as soon as you do that, you might feel that you kind of roll off the right side, like that kind of happens. So this hip crease here, roll it back down to the floor. See if you can reach your right arm around and hold either your foot or your ankle. If you can hold your ankle, you can flex your foot. If you can't hold your ankle, if your arm's not long enough, then hold your foot, that's fine. And if you can't reach, then come back here and just have your foot pointing up towards the ceiling. So turn to the front, wherever you are, turn your shoulders square to the front. Flex your ankle if you've got a hold of your ankle. And press your right hip crease really firmly down, so you're squeezing your right buttock down to press, no gap here. Imagine you've got a piece of paper underneath it and it's a windy day. You've got to hold it steady. Keep holding that down. Roll your right shoulder back as well so it's smooth across the front. And then everything apart from your left arm and your hip crease, you see if you can just lift it up away from the floor. Just float it up away from the floor. And then gently release. Let go of your foot. Let your leg go back down, rest again on the floor, so stretch your back out. Back up onto your forearms and then bend your left knee. So if you know there's no way you're going to reach, then don't bother reaching, you can stay here. But if you want to, you take your left arm around, grab a hold of the foot. If you can, the ankle, because that gives you a bit more leverage. And then turn to the front. So you want that arm that's holding the foot to be straight. The arm's relaxed, but the elbow is straight. And then roll your left hip crease firmly down. Roll your left shoulder back. And then pressing down into the floor with your hip crease. And obviously your right arm staying on the floor. Feel like everything apart from your hip crease is floating up. Feel how when it floats up, your foot wants to pull away from the back of your head. It wants to, as if your leg wants to straighten. Let that happen, let that tension happen. That gives you a good lift. And then release that lift. Let go of your foot. leg to the floor. Rest again on your pillow. Take a few conscious deep breaths there. It is a lot of work on your back, and if your lower back is feeling like this really shouldn't be done, then rest, don't do the next bit. But obviously there is going to be some work being done, you're going to feel something, but you should know what feels good work and what feels pain. We don't need to feel pain. So full bow pose is both legs. Here are your options. You can rest, you can come up into Sphinx pose again and just point your toes up towards the ceiling, and there'll be a couple of instructions for you like that. Or we can do full bow pose reaching both hands. If you're going to reach around though, you can't start on your forearms because your second arm won't be able to lift off. So you have to start down on the floor and bend your knees and then reach around one arm and then the other. So take hold of your feet, and if you can, shimmy your hands down to your ankles so that you can point your toes away. Have a moment there, rest your head. If you didn't manage to reach, or you didn't want to reach, you're going to come up into Sphinx pose and point your toes up. So from wherever you are, ground both hip creases down, really, really firmly down. If you're holding onto your legs, roll your shoulders back. So it's a squeeze of your shoulder blades. And then wherever you are, hip creases firm down so that everything else can lift up. Float everything else up away from the floor. Roll your shoulders back. Make the hip creases your stability. One more breath there. And then gently lower back down. Come all the way back down on the floor. Find your pillow. Rest. If you'd rather turn your head to one side, you can. Maybe have your arms by your sides. Wherever you want to rest. Observing your breath through the movement that your tummy makes against the floor. We need to stretch the spine after that. And we're going to take down face dog to start, because down face dog is a nice elongation of the spine without any compression of the spine. Because when we stand up, we compress it. Gravity compresses it. Down face dog doesn't get the compression. But the spine doesn't get the compression. But it is quite strong to get up there when you've just done this. So if it's not for you, stay there instead. We're going to do another stretch as well. So if you want to do down face dog, hands underneath your shoulders, push up to hands and knees, hands a little bit forwards of your shoulders, tuck your toes under, so move slowly and with control, look towards your knees, send your hips back and then push into your hands, push into your toes, let your knees lift up off the floor, lift your hips, find your down face dog. It doesn't have to be your best straight leg down face dog because we're thinking about stretching the spine. So bending your knees is all good if that makes you be able to pull your hips back from your hands. And place your knees gently back down on the floor. If you're still lying on the floor, then come back up to hands and knees. You want to have your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips for cat and cow. So if you were to lie down on the floor, your shoulders would be where your hands are and your hips would be where your knees are. So round your back up towards the ceiling. Push your back ribs up. Tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in. And if that doesn't seem to be quite where you want to stretch, then try and push it into the right place. Back to neutral spine. Lift your tailbone, lift your chest, look forwards. Roll your shoulders away from your ears, arch your back. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, through neutral spine back to a domed back. Inhale, back to neutral spine, and then an arched back. So go in time with your own breath and exhale to round. And next time you complete an exhale, a rounding of your back, then sit back in child's pose. Take a moment there, rest your arms wherever you want to rest them. Maybe stacking your hands so your forehead can be supported. Hands under your shoulders. Push yourself up, lift your chest. We're going to make our way slowly all the way back up to standing. So stand with your feet hip distance apart or a comfortable distance apart and your toes pointing forwards. And take a bit of a side stretch. So imagine that you've got a wall right behind you and the whole of the back of your body has very gentle contact with that wall. And you're going to lean over to the right. So slide yourself down the wall, stay in contact with it. Keep both feet equally weighted on the floor. And notice how there's a stretch up the left side of your body. The right side of your body, though, doesn't have much option of how to make a curve. Like the side of your waist can curve a little bit, but it is just a curve of your spine that allows you to lean this way. So let your right hand drop down as low as it wants to, and then lift your left arm up to the ceiling. So things might want to move away from your imaginary wall, so re-establish that. See if your right arm drops any lower. And then turn your palm to the right side and take your palm right over the top of your head. And think about your wall again, especially the back of your head and your left thumb. Pull them back to the wall. Take a breath in to come up and a breath out to lower your arm. So I'm going to lean over to the left. So slide down your wall again. Left arm getting closer to the floor, left fingers getting closer to the floor. Feet still even, hips square to the front. So really your legs don't do much, it's a C curve of your spine. Soft left shoulder. And then reach your right arm up. So how far away from your right foot can your right fingers reach? And can that let your left side relax a bit more? Turn your palm to the left. Take your arm overhead just as much as it wants to. If that doesn't feel, if that's too much of a stretch, then just reach up instead. So what's come away from the wall, just adjust slightly. A breath in to come back up. And then a breath out to relax your arm. So we're going to do those movements in time with the breath. So think about your wall. Think about making as much reach as you can through the stretched side and as soft as you can through the relaxed side. So breath in here. As you exhale, slide down the wall to the right. Another breath in to stretch the left side. A breath out to soften the right side. As you breathe in, stretch your left arm up to the ceiling, as high as it'll go. As you breathe out, relax your right side again. As you breathe in, take the arm across if that feels good. As you breathe out, soften the right side again, both feet grounded. Inhale, reach up to the ceiling, bring your body back upright. Exhale, arm by your side. So a little bit of softness in your knees. You'll know if you need that because your knees get a bit tight. And take a breath in here. Exhale, lean to the left, down your wall. Another breath in to stretch the right side. Breath out to soften the left. Breath in, right arm reaches as high as it can go. Right foot firmly down. Exhale, soften your left side. Inhale, arm overhead. Feel your wall. Exhale, soften the left side. Inhale up. Exhale, arm down. And do it once more to each side. Breath in here. Exhale into the right. Breath in. Exhale. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, relax the right side. Inhale, left arm over. Exhale, relax the right side. Inhale up. Exhale down. Breath in. Exhale, slide along to the left. Remember your wall. Breath in again, stretch the right side. Exhale, soften the left. Inhale, right arm stretches to the ceiling. Exhale, relax the left again, feel your wall. Inhale, arm over. Exhale, left side. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then take your feet a little bit apart, bring your hands onto your hips and make a big circle of your hips. Have as much knee bend as you want, just some movement in your hips because they've stayed really still. Imagine you've got a clock face and you're taking your hips right around the edge of the clock face. Doesn't matter what the rest of your body does. Back the other way. And then spiral in towards the centre and come to a halt. So rest your arms by your sides for a moment. We're going to take triangle pose, which is a side stretch as well, but a side stretch in a different way. So your feet are going to come as wide apart as they comfortably can. Wider, the easier it is to take the bend at the side. And then your left leg turns a little bit inwards. Your right leg turns all the way out. So that points to the wall on your right. And even your knee points that way. So if your knee were to bend, it wouldn't bend forwards, it will bend out to the side. The whole leg is rotating outwards. So the back of the thigh moves forwards, the front of the thigh moves back. But you keep your hips as square to the front as you can. So rest your arms by your sides. Keep that leg turning out. Feel your imaginary wall behind you again. It's a little bit awkward to rest everything against it, but do what you can with this right leg turning out. And then you're going to lean, sliding down your wall to the right, but go slowly. Feel now that where you didn't have any curve in your hips before, now you've got this big angle here that you can push into. So it's not your spine curving, it's an angle at your hip there. You can just let your right arm slide down. See how far away from your wall you've come. You can lean back against it slightly. If your right leg feels a little bit tight on the knee, a very small bend just takes the pressure off the kneecap. Push down into the back heel. So when we were talking about the helium balloon in your chest, now it's coming back. You will have curved your spine over a little to the right. So just take this right shoulder up away from the floor so your spine becomes more elongated. Press down through the back foot and elongate your spine. Like you've got that helium balloon in your chest, and the more you press down into your left foot, the more light your chest feels. And you lift your left arm up to the ceiling. Lovely. So press down into the left foot, lengthen your spine. Then feel where your wall is. So the whole of the left side of your body probably needs to roll back against the wall. Steady breath there. And then let your left arm come back down. Take a good bend of your right knee. And then bring yourself back up. Turn both sets of toes to the front. Have a moment there. So right leg turns in, left leg all the way out. The whole length of the left leg all the way out, but trying to keep your hips square to the front. So your wall is behind you. Your feet are grounded on the floor. You're going to just lean over to the left. Slide down your wall again. Feel how this angle here is what's going to allow you to hinge. It's like it's an angle that comes there. So slide down the wall. A little bend in your left knee if you feel that you've got tightness in your kneecap. And as you slide down your wall, feel how your spine curves a bit as well. So we don't need curve in the spine. So press down firmly through your feet. Just lift your left shoulder a little bit up away from the floor. So your spine straightens. Push into your right foot. Feel that balloon in your rib cage lifting up and away. It's like the balloon is lifting away from your right foot. Right arm lifts up to the ceiling. It's all about pressing down into the right foot to feel a bit lighter, and then to be able to roll the right side of your body back against the wall, back of your head as well. One more breath, and then let your right arm come back down. Good bend of your left knee. And then come back up to standing. Turn your toes forwards. And then heel toe or walk your feet to hip distance apart. A forward fold here. So hands on hips. Breath in to lift front of your body long. And then as you exhale, slowly hinge from your hips. So when you can't hinge anymore, then take a good bend of your knees and let your rib cage just drop. It's like your balloon has popped. Your ribs are now really heavy. Let them hang loose. Let go of your hips. Take a hold of the opposite elbow with each hand. Head and neck relaxed as well, so you're looking between your legs. So forward fold gives you a good stretch on your back. It's like your spine is elongating in a curve from top to bottom. A deep bend of your knees. Release your hands. Tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in. Roll yourself back up to standing. And then take a lie down on your back on the floor. Bring your attention straight back to your breath once you've found your comfortable position on the floor. And then bring your knees onto your chest. One hand on each knee and a big circle with your knees. So your hands guide your knees round in a circle. Bit of movement for your lower back. And back the other way. Come to rest and bring your feet back down on the floor. Sit yourself back up for a twist. So if you have a block that you can sit on, feel free to use it. If you don't have a block, you might find a cushion or a large book or something else around, or nothing at all is fine as well. So stretch your legs out. Sit as tall as you can. So if you're sitting on a block, sit well back on it, so that you've got a nice foundation to lift up out of. You want to feel that buoyancy in your ribs again, and not just at the front but at the back as well. And you're going to bend your right knee. Left hand on your right knee and right hand or fingers on the floor behind. Left toes pointing to the ceiling, and then sit as tall as you can again. Every time you breathe in, you're going to feel as if your rib cage is buoyant and lifted. And every time you breathe out, turn to the right. So breath in, lift your chest. Breath out, turn to the right. Look over your right shoulder. So your breath can be as slow as you want. Take as long as you want to find that lift through your rib cage. And as long as you want to lever yourself around to the right. If you feel your shoulders hunching up towards your ears, let them go. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then turn to the front, gently unwind. Stretch your leg out. So left knee bends, foot on the floor. Right hand on your left knee, left hand or fingers on the floor behind. Right toes pointing up, and then buoyant ribs. Lift them up, float them up. Take a breath in. Exhale, turn to the left. Inhale again, lifting up. Exhale, turn, look over your left shoulder. One more breath in. And a breath out. Place your feet. Unwind. Stretch your legs out. Give them a shake. And we're going to lie back down again. On your back. Have your knees bent. And bring your knees onto your chest. Take your hands around the back of your knees and take your knees wide apart and your feet wide apart as well. So try and keep your knees where they are, but Straighten your legs, so not completely straight, but just straight enough so that your soles of your feet turn up towards the ceiling, so your shins become vertical. Knees are still wide, feet are still wide. You can creep your hands up the outside of your shins. Maybe you can reach your fingers over the outsides of your feet. Maybe if you can't reach that, try the insides of your feet or your ankles or somewhere up your shins. And then relax. Relax your shoulders. Relax your hips as much as you can. Feel what action it would take to, in your mind's eye, have your knees dropping down towards the floor, right next to your armpits. Make that action. So every now and then you have to keep remembering to find that relaxed action because it all tenses up again. How much of your shoulder blades and your back of your shoulders are on the floor? Can you get a bit more down? In your lower back, can you roll your tailbone closer towards the floor? And in your mind's eye again, your knees dropping down next to your armpits. And then release your legs or your feet. Bring the soles of your feet together. Keep your knees wide and let the outside edges of your feet drop down towards the floor. So your feet are on the floor, soles of your feet touching each other, so the outside edges of your feet are on the floor, and your knees drop out to the sides. Reach your arms up, take a hold of the opposite elbow with each hand, and then take that beyond your head. So if there's any place where you can't avoid being tense in this position, then release it. It might be the shoulders, so if it is, stretch the arms out wide instead. The legs are really uncomfy to relax there, then stretch your legs out instead. Close your eyes. Take a deep, slow breath in. And a soft breath out. Slow breath in. A soft breath out. Continue with that breath. You can stay there if you want to. If you would rather though, release your elbows, bring your arms by your sides. A little angle away from your sides, palms face up, and stretch your legs out as well. Let your legs be wherever they're comfy to be. Relax your feet, relax your hands. Your arms and your legs. Slow breath in and a soft breath out. One more slow breath in. And a soft breath out. So if you've got your, if your knees are still wide and your arms beyond your head, stretch yourself gently out. Bring your legs together, push your heels away, pull your toes up towards you, take your arms beyond your head. And then point your toes away. And release the stretch, let everything relax. Bend your knees, bring your knees onto your chest, hands around your knees, have a rock side to side. And take one big roll all the way onto the side that's got the most room. Gently back up to sitting. Namaste.